Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Racha, Kwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles slash elders, which are GMS, and blessed salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. I wanted to do this lesson, in particular to Akim out there that sometimes feel inadequate when in comparison to elder brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm getting off camera because I'm a little off kilter. Um, but this is based off of giving out tests and brothers putting out lessons and things like that. Is see here. It's like here. I'm gonna go into the book of Proverbs 17, verse 3. And it says, I'll start from verse 1. It says, Proverbs 17:1. It says, better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. So when you're going into, let's go into the word morsel, okay? The word, and these are not significant words particular, but just to give clarification, it says fragment, bit, morsel, bread, or piece, okay? And then it says better is a house, better is a dry morsel, a dry piece of bread, and quietness therewith, than an house full of sacrifices with strife. So better is a dry piece of bread, or bland. Where's bread also known as the truth? Dry is bland. It's not decorated, for lack of better words. It says better is a dry morsel, and with quietness. Let's see what that quietness is. Quietness, ease, prosperity. So when you really go into this, it's as better as a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices and with strife. So it's getting straight in telling you that you may have your information and your faith and your walk in this ministry may not be extravagant, but that word, let's go back to that word quietness. It says quietness, ease, prosperity, security, abundance, prosperity, quietness, wouldst thou living securely. Basically, in piety. I like that word, in piety. I looked it up a while ago, but I'm going to go into it again. Like I just want to look up this word impiety real quick. Come on, Satan. Let's get it. There we go. Because that word quietness goes back to impiety. Impiety is his weakness, or directly from impiety, irreverence, ungodliness, disloyalty, treason, non-equality, impious, irreligious, lack of reverence to the Most High. So let's go back to the precept here. Says better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith. So they're obviously not breaking this down clearly and properly, so I'm gonna try to see. It says wilt thou living securely, and unexpectedly, suddenly, carelessness, in a bad sense, carelessness and piety. So as in a bad sense, it's carelessness, but in the sense that in the context within the scriptures, quietness, ease, prosperity, that's the sense that it's giving it, So it says better to live with dry morsel, basically to have, you don't have to have this extravagant breakdown to be this illustrious brother. You're on the highways and your voice, the way you project the voice, the way you break things down, the amount of knowledge that's not the end all be all. All right. So it's saying it is better, basically to be accurate. Better is dry morsel, dry bread. Let's get that word dry. Is karab, waste, desolate, dry. Parched or ruined, desolate, waste, laid waste, destroyed. And again, this is not the proper breakdown. So when you talk about dry, it's just bland. It's just not. It's not. It don't got that garlic butter. It don't have the seasoned salt. It's not that garlic bread that you're looking for. It's dry. It's bland. It's not extravagant. Okay, so it's better as a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife, because basically it's not telling you. Basically, it's better for you to be wicked and then full of righteousness with anger. Basically, it's telling you to or righteousness with evil. It's telling you it's better to have this generic righteousness about yourself than to be extravagant. Something like Nate Satan with his theatrical voice, or Batak with his deep breakdowns. But eventually they go off. Or Amashabiala, which is Element, as smart as he was a house full of sacrifices, but with strife. You know what I'm saying? And the word is Rayab, which is strife, controversy, dispute, strife, quarrel, dispute, controversy, case at law. So I just wanted to get this, and I'm going to continue to read. It says, a wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of an inheritance among the brethren. And this is the point I wanted to get. The finding pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts. So that's the point at the end of the day. The Lord trieth the hearts, and you can be this garlic bread. You can be the bread with the guacamole on top, with a fucking sunny side up egg on top. But if you're doing it in anger, if you're doing it in self pride, if you're doing it in for a selfish reason, then it doesn't count. The Lord trieth the inner man. So it's not about how intelligent you are. It's really about how sincere you are. If you're in this, because we're all doing what? We're all working for that one penny. It don't matter if you put in thousands of hours or just 2 hours. If you sign up 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and salvation comes tomorrow, compared to somebody that signs up tonight and salvation comes at 1 o'clock in 2 minutes, right? That both of those individuals would get the same reward, which is salvation, right? So it's not a competition. Competition is not going to cut the mustard. It is longevity. It is sincerity. It is faithfulness and its belief, because you can have all that knowledge, man. You can have all that knowledge. Hell, there's nothing really I can really illustriously break down. You have examples in front of you from, like I said, Amashabiala, Element, all these other guys that fell out that were hella intelligent within the scriptures that just fell out. You have heads of camps that fell out. The brother in Atlanta, the guy in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? That brother, I was tuned into his lessons. Zabak, tuned into his lessons. But all that information that you have and how you speak it and how fluently is good. It's definitely good. It's definitely, to me, is important for, to hone in your craft. But the thing that trumps everything is sincerity, man. You know what I'm saying? Because um, whatever your gift is, no brother is allowed to disrespect you or consider you inconsiderate because your gift is not as significant as theirs. You're not producing as fast as they are, things like that. So, as a brother, as a leader, as a brother again, uh, you have brothers within this ministry that don't flow and that don't progress as fast as you have, and you want them to progress. But at the end of the day, um, it's all about, are they progressing? Are they serious about what they're doing? They may ask dumb questions. In your opinion, Salaki, let me hold up. Esau coming, man. You know, but thought Satan was gone, man. Through the spirit. But again, the hell was going on there? What are they doing? Yeah, you want them. Even if from younger brothers to older brothers, you shouldn't be judging off the works. Works have a good part to play in it, but overall, what you're judging is the sincerity, and that's a hard thing to judge when you're talking about that aspect. That's the inner man. The Lord deals with the inner man. He doesn't deal with how many precepts you know. That is a good indication, but that's not the end all be all to defining if someone is a man or woman of the Lord or not. And Salaki, let me hold up real quick. All right, y'all have a good one. Yeah, that's not the end all. That's not the end all be all to that brother, man. You got to be able to read spirits. You got to be able to the same way that the Most High is able to tap in and deal with brothers. You got to pray for that same connection, because it's more than just being carnal and saying, "Oh, this brother knows a lot. This brother has potential." Looking at a person and saying, "Oh, they can do 10 push-ups. They can, they can kill it on the mitts." Say you're in boxing, you see somebody, this is what I deal with in boxing a lot. You see somebody on the mitts, they're killing it, pop, 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 hitting the combinations, they're moving around, they look like a champion. But when they get in the ring, it doesn't translate. The reason why it doesn't translate is because the type of fighter, the inner man that you're dealing with, the type of fighter you are as an inner man. When you get, like Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit. A lot of people believe that they're champions. A lot of people believe that they'll do this. And a lot of people have confidence. And a lot of people project themselves as to be this big, bad, and mighty person. But when adversity comes, how do you come out? Do you come out as gold or do you come out as wood? You understand? In that adversity, you should always come out as gold, even when you have a little wood on you. It's just the Lord knocking off that wood. Losing, we all about winning, but losing, there's nothing wrong with losing. You can never learn with constantly winning. Okay, if you're out there and it's constantly scoffers coming up and you're cutting them to pieces, but you never allow to self-evaluate yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a balance. You got to have a winner's mentality, and you got to have the mindset of that you have the ability to lose, that loss is going to come. I tell my fighters all the time, you don't want to get hit, but you don't want to sit there and act like you're not going to get hit or do everything that you can do to not get hit. For one, you won't be able to counterpunch. For two, you may turn, you may flinch and react a certain way, which cause you to get hit more, right? So it is the same thing with this gospel, man. You can't come into this gospel expecting everything to flow right expecting if you strive, even if you put all your might and put every single ounce of spirituality and physicality into this ministry, that everything is going to go right. That is not the case. Things will not go your way. Afflictions will come because you're not Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai went through afflictions and he went through adversity. So the servant is not above his master. We're not above Yahweh Shai, so we're going to go through those afflictions. The real question is, who will you be when you go through that fire, right? You're doing, especially when you're doing everything right. That's why Scripture says, "Blessed is he that have endure affliction for my name's sake," and blessed is he that deals with a forward master when you endure punishment that you didn't, unjust punishment, because that really takes character. It takes character. It takes character to sit here and go throughout America and deny ourselves, like Peter asked Yahweh Shai, if we deny ourselves, what shall be our inheritance? You expect things to happen to you that's good. These Christians expect things to happen to them that's good. There's certain people in churches that go to these churches that are really putting their sincere effort and energy and affections into these churches, expecting the equal recompense, where for one, we don't deserve it. There's many reasons of why it's happening, but at the end of the day, just because you're putting that energy in there doesn't mean that's the reward. The reward is ultimately salvation and the Lord putting you into the tree of life, you know what I'm saying? And within that aspect. So that's the reward that we're looking for. And it's not that instant gratification that people look for and want. That's just all it is. It's instant gratification. Here you is, you got it. You got your a movie, you came to work overtime. Here's your gift card. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that the other gratifications, that I would never fire you because of the type of worker you are. That's a different level of appreciation compared to if I give you this $20 movie card, you show up late, I can fire you because I gave you the movie card. You got your reward. You can't sit here and say, I came for you. Oh man, I showed up extra days of shit. I showed up late. So every time you did it, I gave you a reward. What are you talking about? So as soon as you do something wrong, then you deserve punishment. So in our situation, we're for one, we deserve it pertaining to our life that we came in this life, in a life in the past, and our representation and our connection to the whole nation of Israel. We deserve all the punishment that we're getting because the Lord punished generations, the Lord punished nations. Just like we'll say Esau is going to be punished, we getting punished the same way that Esau is getting punished, not in the same vernacular or the same category as far as things that are happening, but we're generalized the same way, but just punished in a different format. And our format is to be under Esau, be under these heathen, and to be under servitude. But again, no matter what level you are as a man of the Lord, as long as you're sincere and you're trying your damnness, really, you're trying your best. I would, Salakia from using damnness, but you're trying your best to be a man of the Lord, and you're putting a sincere effort. That's what the Lord deals with, all right? The Lord don't deal with who knows the most. He's going to put you in the right position. You got to trust in the Most High. How about Shem Yahweh Shai? He's going to put you in the right position to be under the right people, and it's up to you to increase on that level. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be stirred by your spiritual level at the moment, or whatever moment. You might remain in that moment, but as long as you remain on the right-hand side of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that's all that matters. Not if you can do a windmill dunk compared to you don't even know how to do a layup, but your job is to come on that court and produce how you're expected to produce, and you do that, then that's beautiful. But when you produce more, that's even grand. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there through the Spirit. Hopefully that was edifying. That at the end of the day, I can, we supposed to have a godly jealousy, but at the same time, I just wanted to attack any doubt that exists within the ministry. That if you're not producing as much as brothers that are producing, there's tons of brothers, Elder Malcolm, Uriah, Ariala, Uriah. There's there's Monaghan, there's a slew, the apostles, of course. There's a slew of brothers that are immaculate with with this ministry, and you should never get deterred just because they exist. These some bad dudes, man. These some bad dudes, and they deserve their respect. They deserve their honor. But that doesn't mean that you um, should be insecure about your position. But at the same time, you're supposed to have the godly jealousy to where it's supposed to invigorate you and it's supposed to encourage you to work towards something of their level. The apostles don't exist for nothing. Why do you think because the apostles exist, that they exist on the level that they are, and then we just pop up and we're just minute niggas or minute men of the Lord just within the ministry? No. Look at GMS. Look at the fruit. You should know a man by his fruit. You look at GMS and how we produce. It's because what? They set the standard through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. And yeah, you should feel some type of way to see somebody kicking ass within the ministry, and you should say as a winner to sit there and say, look, this is the standard. This brother went into this brother went into that. I should know this, I should know that. But never get into the mentality of saying, well, damn, they know this and they know that, and this might not be for me because they know these things and I'm not able to catch on to it as fast. These brothers love us the same. We love them the same. Yahweh Shem Shai love us the same, as long as we're sincere in this ministry. So with that being said, I want to say Ahabatham Sequoiam, Yahweh Shem Shai, Bashem Kokadash, Barakatham, again, Ahabatham Sequoiam, the honest apostle, elder for GMS, and blessed society, teach you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. Shalom.